The Disney Lorcana Gateway is actually a really fantastic product if you fall into the target audience for a product like this. We'll get the elephant in the room out of the way first. If you have any previous trading card game experience or are familiar with games that have both a base set of rules and individual subset rules, like unique rules on different cards, you probably don't need this. The design and presentation is absolutely for somebody with little to no experience with TCGs, or they've only played games no more complex than what you'd find in your standard target aisle, which would make sense given that this is exactly where this product is placed. Not with the other TCGs in the front card section, but back in the toy section by the board games. It's designed as an all-inclusive, self-contained introduction to the Disney Lorcana TCG, which means having everything you need for brand new players and especially kids. We may be past the yearly holiday season when this video goes live, well past it in fact, but there's never been a bad time to get someone into a new TCG. And that's exactly what I did when I personally got this for my 6-year-old daughter last Christmas. I want to talk about this product, why you might want it, and share my perspective of playing through it with my little one. First, what is Lorcana? If you follow me and don't know what that is, hi, what are you doing here? But more importantly, let's learn about this game for those who may not know. Disney Lorcana is a TCG or trading card game where players take the role of Illumineers that wield magical ink to summon glimmers of familiar characters throughout Disney's history. Your goal is to collect lore on your quest, and the first to 20 lore wins. Along the way, you'll play characters, quest and challenge with them, and play a variety of actions and items to help you. So what is in this box that you buy? Well, inside the box, you have everything you need to get started playing, as well as several helpful tools to guide you and make your play as streamlined and organized as possible. In total, you will get 2 starting decks, 4 reward packs, 30 damage counters, 2 character movers, 2 character bases, a game board, a rulebook, a guidebook, and 2 little pamphlets for each of the decks. But I want to start with what the box suggests that you start with, the rules. This is a fairly straightforward rulebook that gives you an overview of the game, how it's set up, its objectives, parts of a card, how to play in terms of structure, and the things you can do on a turn, as well as the accompanying mechanics. It's a little more in-depth than the fold-out card you get with the starter decks, but it doesn't really overwhelm the reader with too much extra stuff. There is an accompanying video to go along with it to help guide new players through the first few turns of the game. It's a little cheesy and a little hand-holding, but it is pretty good for little kids or people who have no idea what they're doing and need that guidance. The video guides players through the first few turns with exactly what they should have in their hand, because the starting decks are pre-arranged in a specific order to facilitate that learning. It includes a good curve of cards to play in a sampling of inkable and uninkable cards and a single action card. The entire rest of the deck are just characters, most of which with simple or no abilities. I wish this guided video process was also provided in writing so as to not have to rely on the video for the guided tour. It could have easily been a numbered list of steps and explanations for the very early turns for each of the players. Either way, it was mostly effective for my 6-year-old and I, as she was able to follow along and learn the basics pretty quickly. Back to the decks. The starting decks are only 30 cards because you add new cards in after you unlock achievements that show that you are learning the game. This is the second book supplied with the box, and I think the most valuable addition that the whole product provides. You have a series of gates that are locked and needed to be unlocked by completing various goals and challenges that require demonstrating different basic elements of gameplay. Starting off with simple management of questing and challenging, along the way to checking card types and taking multiple specific actions per turn. I absolutely love this, and it felt like adding a layer of replayability and additional justification for playing the games that we were playing. When we finished a game, if we didn't get all of the challenge goals completed, she immediately wanted to play and try again. The beauty of this kind of structure is that it makes sure that people are familiar with a series of card types and actions before introducing new ones. The first chunk of cards are almost entirely characters and a single action, so the first goal is to just focus on inking and playing cards, with questing and challenging and sequencing those plays. When done with that, you unlock the next gate, which shuffles in an additional pack of cards. That pack of cards introduces the song mechanic with the accompanying goals where you need to sing songs as well as do specific things with those specific songs. When those challenges have been completed, you then get items and abilities with a cost, and when you're done with that, then you get Floodborn and Shift characters. It's a fairly comprehensive and methodical introduction to increasing complexity that does a great job of chunking things out in a game with lots of different elements that are split into sections digestible enough for a 6-year-old. The rest of the pieces just help board gamify the experience. A large cardboard play surface is provided with label elements all over to keep track of where things are and where things should be and what you can do during your turn. The standee is a nice visual way to track your lore gain as you go to 20, and the little pamphlets give some insight into the specific cards of each of the decks. It also comes with some tokens for tracking damage that are a little thicker and nicer than regular ones, but don't expect any kind of life-changing gameplay if you're a seasoned veteran of other TCGs or even have a bit of experience here. This is not for players like me, but it is exactly perfect for people like my daughter, and she has had a wonderful time with it, and I think the presentation has been hugely successful for her. She is excited to check off the goals in the guidebook and is bouncing with anticipation for shuffling in a new pack of cards into her deck. And that's really where this shines, getting kids excited for this game and getting them to learn what might be the most complex game they've ever learned before. Not just with its own core rule set, but with nearly every card introducing additional little rules. It's definitely way more intense than Uno or Sorry or Connect 4. Lastly, I want to share out one of the most awesome little experiences we had when playing. I forget the specifics of the board state, but it was during the first gate. We only had characters, and she was faced with a choice to either quest or challenge. And she was faced with a choice to either continue questing or challenge some of my characters. She asked me what I think she should do, and I asked her in response, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to win, or are you trying to stop me from winning? She confidently replied, I want to stop you. So I said, then what's the best way to do that? She thought for a minute and then successfully challenged into two of my characters, banishing both of them. Afterwards, I asked if she knew what the words offense and defense meant, and she kind of gave me a blank stare. I explained to her that offensive choices usually try to win as fast as possible, and defensive choices are trying to stop the opponent from winning. Deciding which one to do at any given time is the hardest part of games like this. She smiled because she was proud of herself and her decision, and now even more proud that she had the words to be able to explain it, and I'm very proud of her. Anyway, that was my experience with this product, and it has been an incredible bonding experience for my daughter and I, and a great tool to introduce her to a game that I love and do it in a methodical and organized way. She's already telling me about how she wants to come join me at League Night on Mondays. One thing I will add, though, is that it is absolutely not worth the full MSRP cost. Many places are selling it for around $12, and for a brief period they were available on Amazon for as cheap as $6. At that price, even I just picked up another one, maybe as a future gift for someone. The cards inside are effectively worthless, although you do get a single each of Mim Fox and Merlin Rabbit, worth a couple of dollars. But is this worth it to buy it for yourself? If you already know how to play? Absolutely not. Do not buy this. This is not for you. However, if you're trying to teach someone, especially kids, it's absolutely awesome. Just be sure not to pay full price. You should not be paying $25 for this. But what you're really paying for is that excellent guidebook and the staged progression of introducing new mechanics and cards. And while I will personally never want to use that playboard, it's going to be a hard habit for her to break, as she definitely wants to use it every time we play. Anyway, have you tried teaching someone new how to play? Have you ever used Gateway? Let me know how any of your experiences went below. And as always, take care, Lumineers, stay questing and stay winning. If you enjoyed that, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want more gameplay or breakdown videos, check out the playlist and recommendations here.